Hello and welcome to Transform Your Environments. I'm your host, Marianna Manessi, and in this series of interviews, you're going to discover the secrets to create joy, peace, success, and healthy relationships. So the next guest is a leading space cleaning expert, teacher, and author of 5 books and 4 online courses. With over 500 blog posts on spaceclear.com, she's devoted to helping people create beautiful home spaces that elevate and nourish them. So please help me in welcoming the author of Your Spacious Self, A Year to Clear, and A Year for You, Stephanie Bennett Vogt. Good to have you here, Stephanie.
Oh, Marianna, thank you so much for inviting me to participate.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's an honor. It's an honor. Thank you for being here.
Yes, of course. Anything that promotes spaces and beauty in spaces and nourishment in spaces really moves me. So that's my favorite thing, is homes and beautifying homes and making them feel good for people. So anything that can sort of promote that and cultivate that, I'm all for it.
Great. I love it. And I love how you talk about feelings. So it's interesting to me, how you always talk about both internal and external clutter. So I'd like to start this interview by asking you, which one gets to be a priority to be removed?
Oh, no question. It's the internal. No question. Without, clearing the internal stuff that leads to the external stuff, there's no clearing. And period. You see, clutter is not the problem. Clutter and stress is not the problem. It's more of a symptom of a core issue that we are unconsciously carrying around. And any issues like attachments, like I might need this someday, or resistance, the feelings of overwhelm, for example, or fears of letting go, or self-blame, like, I'm not good enough. These are the things, these are the core issues that if we address those first, the rest of it just starts to fall away or melt away. Yeah. Wow. So, and if I've learned anything at all about this work, and it's been 20 years plus, more maybe, I've learned this, like, sort of down to three truths. The first one is we just cannot clear the stress or clutter in our lives with the same mindset that created it. The second thing is, for clearing to last, we need to slow down and put ourselves first. And the third thing is, clearing is not about freeing up some space. Although we think that it is about freeing up space, it's about freeing us. So I'm really about the bigger game here, just playing a much bigger game with people. And just, it's bigger game. It's really about cultivating that internal noise, like releasing that internal noise so that we can live a more spacious life. Basically, that's kind of, so that's my passion, is how can we play that bigger game? It's such a great opportunity, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned, we mentioned how we feel overwhelmed. And I'd like to ask you, how can we change that?
So overwhelm, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but here's what I've learned about overwhelm. Overwhelm happens when an ancient part of our brain, called the amygdala, gets activated and unleashes a cascade of stress hormones called through the system. And you've probably heard of it. Most of us have. It's called fight, flight, or freeze. And this is a response that we get, when we're suddenly, confronted with something that jangles us. It's a really wonderful thing to have when you're in the wild and an animal is attacking you, or your toddler's reaching for the kitchen knife, or running into traffic. You just need that response. The thing is, it's not so useful when you're trying to clear a lifetime of physical clutter. It's just not helpful at all. And here's the rub is the thing about I think of it as like overwhelm is like a built-in Secret Service agent. We need it, right? But it's going to pounce the minute it senses any kind of danger. And it's just not useful for us when we're constantly bumping up against our own holding patterns, our fears, and some of those worries that I talk about, some of those core issues. So here's the rub about it is that there's no automatic off switch. You can't turn it off, unfortunately. It's more like a motion sensor, like those lights, that go on automatically when a person walks by. It's more like that. And the rub is that they stay on. It's like that fight, flight, or freeze response will just stay on, as long as we're continually activating it with our attachments and our worries and our fearful memories and our, any strong emotional charge that we've been carrying. So it just kind of kicks in and it stays in. So that's why clearing clutter in the traditional way isn't going to help us actually move through some of these blocks until we've addressed the fight or flight, and unless we address the fight or flight response. So I know this is a bummer. It's like, how are we ever going to make a difference? How are we ever going to change? But here's the good news. Here's the good news. And this is what has taken me years and years and years to kind of not just figure out, but through a lot of study and practice of my own and my own personal experience, is that through consistency and practice and awareness, we can completely rewire that part of the brain. And it's so exciting because we can actually break the cycle of overwhelm for good. And once we do that, everything starts to fall into place. So that's the thing. And that's what all of my work, all my books and online courses are really designed to help address that activation, really sort of dialing it down into more of a slow drip, slow, gentler approach. It's not very sexy. It's not very fun. Sometimes people want change fast. But if we don't address these core issues, we're not going to change at all. We're just going to continue to recycle and recycle and recycle the same old patterns that we've been sort of spinning, the patterns that we've been spinning in our homes and our lives. We just kind of repeat it over and over. So we need to, for us to actually make a change, we must focus on tasks that do not set off those alarm bells in the brain. We need to be consistent in our efforts. And consistency in my world means every day. It doesn't mean on weekends. It doesn't mean when you have time or when you can feel like it. It's actually a practice that you start to cultivate daily in small little bites that are actually really doable, not only doable, but that feel good and are fun. And once we start rewiring the brain, we start to see that actual, moving of a pile from here to here, or clearing the kitchen cabinets or the refrigerator or the closet becomes kind of fun. But we've got to really start slow. So that's my whole thing about the overwhelm response. It really is a key piece of clearing as I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't go away overnight.
It doesn't go away, but the good news is we can, through this consistency and practice and dailiness, really, and awareness. Oh, key thing is awareness. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We have to do all these tasks with complete awareness. And that's like shining light on these things. And sometimes we don't want to see these things,
Yeah.
That's why we need to turn the light up very slowly.
Yeah. And then one day we'll do all these things, we'll declutter and we'll keep our spaces clean and beautiful, and it will be fun.
Totally. That's the thing. It becomes joyous instead of onerous.
Yeah.
Fun and joyful and uplifting. It's like you want to do it because how good it feels in your home and how good you feel in your home. It's just, it kind of becomes this self-propagating thing.
Wow, that's
Word.
amazing. It is a muscle then. That we,
It's totally. It's
yeah.
like, it's going to the gym. It's a different kind of gym. For sure.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
gym
Wow.
of the internal struggles, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we also tend to hold on to things and we never let go of anything, really, even if we're not going to use it. So, is there a way that we can actually detach and let go of things and physical clutter?
I love that question. Yes, and absolutely yes. And here is why it's so possible. If you think of physical clutter at its very essence, being nothing more than a form of stuck energy, it's much easier to release it. It gives you sort of that ability to see it as in a whole new way. So instead of seeing it as this nuisance or this growth or this thing that's just holding you back, if you saw it as stuck energy, you can start to address it as a form of stuck energy, and you can start to release it. So I like to think of things as not only stuck energy, but our attachments to them are like a string. It's like there's like the sticky stuff, this attachment to, so we have the thing, it could be clothes or shoes or whatever. And we have this attachment to the thing. If we could address the attachment to it, the sticky stuff that connects us to our things and our homes, that's when things just start to lighten up. I know it sounds like woo-woo magic, but it is actually very practical. And what's so great is that it leads to less overwhelm. So let's just say, for example, all right, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a closet full of clothes that you just don't use or love. And you just want to get rid of them, but you can't because you're stuck, right? And you have these attachments and these worries and these fears and these memories. And what if, what will happen to me if I let this thing go? All of those thoughts that are spinning around, right? Mm-hmm. So my advice is, instead of going after the whole lot of it, really just, cold turkey stuff, cold turkey. Do you understand what I mean by cold turkey? Like just letting it all go.
Yes.
My advice is to take just one item from the closet, just one. It could be a scarf, it could be a top, it could be a pair of shoes, it could be a belt, it could be just something small, and lay it on your lap and use it as a sort of a practice in letting go, and notice the connection that you have to that thing. Like, for example, I'm already can feel like my mouth, I'm thinking of something in my closet and I feel like a stuckness around my throat and my mouth. It's weird. What is that? It doesn't matter what that is. It's just a sensation that I'm getting from my connecting to this object. And then you just sit with it for maybe 5 minutes, just on your lap, without doing anything about it. You're not going to clear it. You're not going to put it away. You're just going to sort of get to know this thing. It's like become friends with it almost. Like, what is this object that I have on my, remember, think of it as stuck energy, right? Yeah. And then you're really talking about the relationship you have with this thing, that sticky, stuck, gucky, whatever. And then you're noticing how you feel in your body. Maybe you start feeling congested. I always get congested when I'm clearing something, like I literally, my nasal passages gets all gucky. My feet start to hurt. It's wild. But this is the way my body processes stuck energy, as I am bringing all of my awareness, the light of awareness, on these things. And as I do that, I start to feel a lightening. And it's almost like, this is the clearing work, by the way. That's it. That's the work. And there's more to it, which I can talk about later. But That is basically it. And then after 5 minutes, when you feel complete, you've noticed your breathing, you notice what's going on, then you ask yourself, what to do about it. Do you put it back in the closet? Do you release it with love? Do you let it go? Do you put it somewhere else? Maybe it doesn't belong in the closet. Then you address it in some way. And that's it. That's the practice of reducing some of the, what I call charge. It's like, like a battery has charge, positive, negative, right? It's like, that is what stuck energy is. There's a lot of charge sort of embedded in these things, energetic charge. And what you're doing through compassionate awareness is reducing that level of charge. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. It fascinates me right now.
I know.
How body reacts.
Yeah. If we just remember that it's not like that's why people don't want to clutter clear, because it doesn't feel so good. But if they saw that as actually the processing of this energy, they would see it as a good thing. But because we're so unconscious and we're not aware, we're not putting any attention on that, we actually don't know that what our body is doing is the right thing. It's like detoxing. Yeah.
Yes.
Clearing is detoxing for sure.
Wow.
I know.
So our bodies don't want to let go. But
no, it's our minds that don't want to let go. And our bodies have sort of learned what our minds have told them.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I know. So it's really about creating some space between you and that thing and really coming to know your relationship with that thing and releasing the attachment to that thing. You're not releasing the thing, you're releasing the attachment to the thing. That's the work.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. And I guess once you do it like the first time, then it becomes easier.
Yes. You've already done the work, right? That's the work. Guess what? The next time you go in your closet, the next day you do it again with something else. And you realize it's like, what am I hanging on to this for? You just feel like it's so much easier to let it go because of the work that you did already. And you'll find that there's an effortlessness to clearing when you really go into it's almost like you're inserting this compassion and awareness into the task. And once you do that, everything starts to lift and free because it's energy, right? So cool. Yeah.
So I was about to ask you, what are the steps to declutter?
Okay. I hoped you would ask that.
Yeah, but I believe you just give a hint.
Yeah. So there are 5 steps, and the steps are really great. It took this again, also took me, I realized there's some steps to this. It isn't just put the thing on your lap, right? There really are some steps to that. So I call it the Spacious way. And it comprises 5 steps that start with the letter S. So I call them the 5 S's for short to make it easy to remember. And the first S is to slow down. So when you go into the closet, for example, you're really, and then you pull the thing out, you sit down, you're just taking a deep breath and you're really just slowing down here. It's really the very first step to any kind of clearing. You cannot progress without slowing down. And the second S, so that the slowing down obviously reduces the speed, right? The second S is to simplify, and that S is reducing the noise. So we reduce the speed, then we reduce the noise. The third S is sensing, which is what we were talking about a little bit earlier about the feeling, the throat, the feet hurting, maybe the palms are getting sweaty or your breathing is fast. That's sensing. And what that does, that sensing practice, that step, increases the awareness. And that leads to the fourth step, which is surrender. And that step increases detachment. So as you see, all these steps kind of build one on another, that you do them in that order. And that leads to the 5th S, which you cannot get to without the previous 4 S's, which is self-care. And self-care increases the self-love and the self-compassion. So let's say, here's an application. Are we good with time? Do we still have time?
Yes, absolutely.
So I have an example of how we could play. You certainly can play with your clothes the way we did. You would slow down, put the thing on your lap. You could ask the question, what is one thing I could do right now to simplify this task? Maybe you haven't even gotten the thing. Maybe you just slow down, then open the closet and go, what is one thing I can do to simplify this task of clearing my closet? It's just a simple question. And just allow the answer to kind of come to you. And then you'll say, oh, well, maybe it's the belt or the shoes, or let's just work with that one thing. So the 3rd step you'd be bringing in is, once you have your step, right, your simplification, you would then ask you would start to sense, right? This is where we get into feeling a lot. And you would ask, how is this object or situation or issue making me feel? And that's when you go, oh God, I really don't like how I feel nauseous. I feel nervous. I'm afraid of letting this thing go. Again, sensation. This is not a thought process. This has nothing to do with what's going on in your head. It is all physicality. Notice your hands. Notice if they're hot, they're cold, they're prickly, tingly, grippy. Notice your heartbeat. Notice every body part. Notice like your energy level. Are you kind of nervous, or are you kind of relaxed? Are you revved up? Are you whatever the energy level? Maybe you're exhausted. And then notice any emotions that are coming up, like fears or worries or sadness, or like, oh, I love this when I was, 21 years old, I wore this and I love, notice that again, but notice not from the head, notice how this thing makes you feel, those emotions, and really get into that sensate part. And notice where in your body you feel it. Sometimes just naming the feeling and where it's located helps to diffuse, again, that sticky energy I was talking about. And once you've gotten really like you've sensed this thing, you go into beginner's mind, right? Just bring some beginner's mind. Take a step back and ask, what is this situation, this task, this object teaching me? Just ask, what is it? What am I learning from this thing? What is it teaching me about myself? And that's surrendering. You're really taking that step and being be curious, and a beginner, the curiosity of a beginner. Like you're seeing this thing for the first time. What is it teaching me? And what is my attachment to it teaching me? And finally, this is when you've done the first 4 steps. You've slowed down, you've simplified, you've sensed, you've surrendered. That's when you ask, what is one thing I can do to feel better, feel more grounded? Maybe I need some more water because I'm so thirsty right now. Maybe I need to stop this exercise right now because I'm just overwhelmed. Maybe I need to go back to slowing down because I'm still revved up, and do the top 4 all over again. Maybe that's what the self-care part is. Again, just ask, what is one thing I can do to feel more centered, more grounded, more whole, more complete? And based on those 4 steps, that's when you know what to do with this object. But that's the clearing in a nutshell. And you can adapt these steps to anything. I mean, it could be, let's say you had a fight with a family member because they're not cleaning up after themselves. You're just sick of doing their laundry and sick of doing, cooking, and they're just slumped in front of the television. You can apply the 5 steps to that as well. You can just, again, slow down, take a deep breath in, and just start to bring yourself into your center. Don't go attacking that person or reacting. Again, you're trying to avoid fight or flight. You're dialing it down. The second step, again, simplify. What is one thing I can do to simplify the situation? I'm so pissed at that person, at my, child or family member, boyfriend, whatever. What is something I can do to simplify the situation? It may be that I just need to get out of the house right now, take a walk the dog, do something really simple. The third step is, how is a situation making me feel? Well, I'm really angry at that person. Again, get into sensation. Where do you feel it in the body? That leads, again, once you have a sense of what it feels like, then go into surrender. What is the situation teaching me? And finally, what is one thing I can do to cultivate some self-care, to feel good, feel better? And after you've done those things, that's when you can approach the friend or family member, but not before, because guess what? If you're coming at them from this highly charged emotional state, they're going to react as well, because we're all connected. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. You're coming in with all these strings and daggers, and what are they going to feel? Because it's all energy. They're going to feel the daggers. They're going to go into fight or flight. They're not going to want to have a conversation with you.
Wow.
So this is all about really reducing the stress, reducing the charge. And then from that place, you have the conversation.
Wow.
That's the 5 S's. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see there's so much personal growth and awareness in decluttering. I'm amazed right now. Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot to it, but it's not, it's simple. That's the thing. It's not complicated. It is as simple as that. It really is. If we're willing to do the work, that's the thing. It's hard, but it's simple.
Yes.
It's
hard until it gets easy.
And it's such a game changer. There's so much benefit. I mean, the benefits are enormous, not just to you personally and your home, but everybody that you relate to changes. All your relationships change as you begin to change that internal noise and that internal stress.
So it is one thing to change our environment, and one thing, the environments change when we change, which is amazing.
As within, so without. And I do believe, and I believe that the environment can teach us. As I noted, is our homes are our best teachers, because they show us the places we hold on. It's church. It's a spiritual practice, this work, really. It really is. It's not just this boring thing. I elevate it to an absolute, it's a thing of beauty. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you notice, all those steps really matter. You can't just leave one out. You have to actually do them all. And what's great about the 5 S's, the spacious way, is that they start to fold in together. It's really just, I break it down, but then you just become all of them sort of take place at the same time. They all sort of fold into each other, and you don't have to think about all those steps once you've really got it. And you just live that way. You live from a very spacious way.
Yeah.
And life completely changes. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, wow, I'm amazed, and I've learned so much. Good. And I'm excited to ask you about what gift you have to offer our audience.
Oh, I have a great gift. So it's actually perfect It's my favorite 1-minute practices. I put together 10 of my favorite 1-minute practices. And the beauty of this sheet, it's like a sheet of my practices. The beauty of them, with an explanation, of course, of why it's so important to just take 1 minute a day. But the beauty of them is that they have embedded in them the 5 S's. So you just start practicing them. And I love it because you could do one every day for 10 days or do one for a week and then change it to another one for a week and have a 10-week practice of these things. And let me just say, when you look at this list, you're going to go, really? Honestly? And I'm going to say yes, because the problem is our mind wants to, when it's cluttered, it doesn't know how to, it wants complication. And in order to cut through the clutter, we need to do practices that, what I say, tiptoe around the amygdala, tiptoe around the fight or flight response. These are designed to get you out of your head and into your body and your heart. So don't be fooled. They look really simple, but they're really powerful, especially if you do it every single day. Like I say, for 1 minute, that's all.
Yeah.
If you did 1 minute, 1 minute becomes 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then a few minutes every single day becomes a habit, and habits start to feel really good. And you've started by then to rewire the brain. But I also recommend my books and my online courses. I have a page on my website called Self-Guided Study. So you can actually, it walks you through how to use my work, because I have a lot of materials. It's like, oh, people could get overwhelmed with all this stuff. But if you do self-guided study, you could just go, okay, she just says this, I'll do this for 6 weeks and then go to the next thing, go to the next thing. And I really guide people on how to dial it down. But the tip sheet is a great place to start. It really is. This 10 1-minute practices, just as if you just want to taste, it's a great taste.
Yes, yeah. And I'm excited to use it myself, actually.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. Well, I love them, and I do them myself every single day. Every single one is powerful. And that's the thing about this work. It just gets better. There's no end to clearing. It just gets better. You get better. You get more enlightened and aware and awake and lifted. And as long as we're alive, we can continually change. And this work really is designed to promote that, self-awareness and self-care and honoring of our spaces. It's really great stuff.
Wow, absolutely. I love that. So, yeah, I'd like to ask you what I always ask at the closing of the interview. So if you were to suggest one action step that people took right after this interview to help them declutter their physical space, what would it be?
Well, I already gave you the steps, right? So I would say turn off the computer, turn off the computer, push your chair back, close your eyes, slow down, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is one thing I can do right now that would help me feel better? Just that. And it could be to clutter clear. It could be because we've just heard this whole thing. It could be just to go take a walk. It's just something that honors you. And then follow the 5 steps. So that's one way. That's one suggestion. And again, don't listen to your head. Just allow the information to seep in. Don't go, oh my God, I'm looking at my refrigerator and I really have to take care of that. Nuh-uh. Just take a step back. Do the first S, which is slow down. Take a deep breath, breathe, simplify. What is one thing I can do? and then take it from there, and then notice how you feel. Take the step back with surrender. What is this teaching me? And what is one thing I can do to feel better, and just keep going like that. The second thing is to do the tip sheet, the gift. Go sign up for my gift, and start right there with the first thing on the list. That was my other suggestion. If you want something more concrete, go right to that, and that should help you get started. And again, I believe we cannot go to step number 10 until we've done one. Just think one. The rule of one is my favorite rule. One thing, one pile, one area, one day, 1 minute, 1 day, 1 week. Just think in increments of one. And that will start to quiet the part of the brain that gets all activated and nervous and in overwhelm. Okay.
Yes, I know what you mean. We tend to want to eat the whole elephant in one bite.
Yeah. Well, that's what the humans want, to just get it all done and fix it all and be done with it. But it's just not going to work that way. At least if you want to play the bigger game, there's another way, and it's so much easier and so much more fun, and really, truly, ultimately effortless and magical. Miracles will happen. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here and answering all the questions and lighting the whole room here. I loved it.
Oh, I'm glad.
And thank you for your beautiful gift. And okay, so please, everyone, click here to get this amazing gift, and don't forget to watch the next interview and completely transform your environments. And I'll see you all soon.
You're a gift too, Marianna. Thank you for the gift of this program that you put together for all of us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie.